Train Sim World 6 is here, the latest annual release from Dovetail Games. Each year, this franchise promises to upgrade, new features, and fresh content, all built on the Unreal Engine to deliver one of the most immersive railway simulations out there. From driving iconic locomotives to exploring detailed routes around the world, it aims to push the experience further than the last release. But with Train Sim World 6, are you really seeing meaningful improvements, or is it just another yearly refresh? Today we're going to break it all down and answer the question, is it worth it? Before we get into it, don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe, and ring the bell so you don't miss any of my Train Sim World content. Let's start with the big selling point of Train Sim World 6, the routes. This release comes with 3 new core routes. First up, we have the Riviera Line in the UK, a fan favourite setting that combines express and local stopping services along the coastal stretch of railway. Over in the US, there's the Morristown Line offering busy commuter action with the arrow-free EMUs. And finally in Germany, we've got Leipzig to Dresden. Not brand new, but an extended and improved version of a route from earlier in the series. 2 of these routes are brand new to Train Sim World, while Leipzig to Dresden builds on what's come before. For the most part, they all run well and aren't too demanding on performance, though I did notice some strains around Hoboken Station on the Morristown Line. With the sheer number of trains, it really pushes the system. Scenery-wise, the routes feel varied and alive, but there are a few strange omissions. For example, Newton Abbot Racecourse is completely missing from the Riviera Line, despite it being a key landmark along the route. In terms of gameplay though, it's a strong lineup. You have metro-style commuter runs on the Morristown Line, a mix of express and local services on the Riviera, and freight duties mixed on both the Riviera and Leipzig to Dresden. If you're brand new to the series, these routes give a good balance of experience and plenty to get stuck into. Overall, I'd say it's a solid core package that feels welcoming to new players, while still offering depth for returning fans. Now let's talk about new features in Train Sim World 6, and the headline addition this year is random events. On paper, this is a fantastic idea, but in practice, it's a bit of a mixed bag. Take train faults for example. Right now they seem to happen far too often, doors jamming or engines cutting out multiple times in a single run. Instead of adding excitement, they quickly become more of an annoyance. Even worse, I tried turning off the feature, but thanks to a bug, doors still jam, despite the option being disabled. I've fed this back to Dovetail, and hopefully a patch will balance things out. The concept is great, but faults need to feel occasional and dramatic, not something you get on every other stop. The next random event is temporary speed restrictions. These are definitely more enjoyable, but they feel underdeveloped. At the moment, they just pop up at random points and only last a short while. It adds variety, but I'd love to see them tied into the environment. Imagine track workers on the line, or restrictions triggered by weather like storms on the Dawlish seawall. There's so much potential here, but it needs more context to really shine. Then there's signal delays, and honestly, I barely noticed them. I can't even tell if I've been slowed down because of a genuine delay or because I've been passed behind a slower service. After dozens of hours in Train Sim World 6, they feel almost invisible. But one feature that really does deliver is the in-game announcement. These add a whole new level of realism and immersion, especially on the UK routes. While they're not officially licensed, they sound convincing enough to feel authentic, and honestly, they're one of the best parts of the day. Of course, Train Sim World 6 comes in different editions, and if you go for either the Deluxe or Special Edition, you'll get a few bonus locomotives alongside the new features. For the UK, that means the highly requested Class B Voyager in Dresden. Over in the US, it's the ALP 45DP for the Morristown Line, and in Germany it's the BR294 freight locomotive on Leipzig Dresden. Out of these, the Voyager is easily the standout for me. It's been one of the most requested trains of the year, and finally it's here. And it drives really nicely, and it's already started appearing on older content too. For example, it lays onto Manchester Airport commuter from Train Sim World 5. Great bonus if you already have that route. The LAP 45DP is a dual power variant, one of the trains that comes from the top. And on paper, it should be really exciting as it can switch between overhead power and diesel. In reality, the route doesn't make use of this feature. Outside the occasional train fault, you have no real reason to ever switch to diesel, where you have slower acceleration, and the route doesn't model the changeover section in detail, so it just feels like a missed opportunity. Then finally, there's the BR294. This is a classic German freight locomotive used for both shunting and mainline duties. The controls take some getting used to, but once you've got the hang of it, it opens up a whole different side of gameplay, and it's a welcome addition and definitely adds variety if you want a break from passenger services. German rail fans will probably be especially happy to see this included. So overall, the Deluxe Edition's extras are a mixed bag. The Voyager feels like money well spent, the ALP 45DP is underused, and the BR294 does give some nice variety. In terms of performance, Train Sim World 6 has been running pretty smooth for me overall. I've been able to hold decent frame rate across most routes, with the main exception being around the Hoboken terminal on the Morristown. But to be fair, I do have all the layers turned on, and I think that's more down to the huge amount of station traffic the game's trying to render in that area. Once you move away from the terminal and the yard, the performance improves a lot. As for bugs, I've only run into a handful on one service to stop moving from Sunnyside Yard into Penn Station, assuming inside the tunnel glitch to flow properly. And of course, there's the issue I mentioned earlier, where turning off train faults doesn't actually disable them, which can get frustrating if you don't want to deal with locked doors. The good news is that the performance is generally stable, and Dovetail have added more options to help. You can now turn off layers if you're running on older systems, which is a welcome addition. That way you can still enjoy routes by your PC or console. So, is Train Sim World 6 worth it? Well, it does bring us 3 new routes with a solid variety of gameplay that works whether you're brand new to the series or a long-term player. Between commuter runs, express services, or freight, there's enough here to keep most players busy, and chances are you'll find a style of gameplay you really enjoy. That said, it is far from a perfect release. The random train faults happen way too often and quickly frustrating. Temporary speed restrictions and signal delays feel like games, where the potential for depth is there, but it isn't fully realised. And while performance is generally good, there's still the occasional bugs or glitches happening. But looking as the whole package, I'd say yes, Train Sim 6 is worth it. Once Dovetail smooths out the rough edges, it has the potential to be the strongest Train Sim world yet. If you've enjoyed this review and want to see more Train Sim content from gameplay to real-world rail vlogs, make sure you hit the like button, subscribe, and ring the bell so you don't miss what's coming next to the channel.